not on. Oh, I'm on. Perfect. Okay. Alrighty. Please join me on stage for our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, can you all give us a round of applause for our first session? Thank you. So we're in store for a treat today. Our title of the session is Outsourced Empathy, and we're going to be answering the question, can machines heal hearts? Joining me on stage are two experts in this sector. We have Jian Lim, CEO of Being AI, and we have Dr. Kyun Yol Bae. I said it right?
Yes.
The professor in the Graduate School of Management Technology at Seong University. So I don't want to go over time with a very lengthy introduction because we only have 20 minutes. And this topic is very controversial and brings so many different insights. So without further ado, I just want to jump right into the question. We're going to talk about AI-driven mental health interventions. We're going to talk about the ethics of it. Is it even ethical? Can AI provide emotional support and guidance to humans? Can AI provide emotional support even better than humans? I think we talked about that behind stage. So to start off the questions, I want to jump to Jian Lim. I want to ask you, given your experience with AI development at Being AI, what specific advancements have you seen in AI's ability to recognize and respond to human emotions effectively?
Sure. Actually, AI has come a very long way. I remember a few years ago, I was testing it, and it was okay, just basically testing the 6 basic emotions, right? But nowadays, there's been millions of data sets on machine learning, so it's pretty accurate, like maybe 97% for recognizing the major emotions. I think then the question is, what is humans good at that AI still hasn't caught up? So one is actually recognizing the micro expressions. And also some of the emotions that are harder to get to, like anxiety, like, cynicism. Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot of emotions, and a lot of it is also hidden underneath. So as humans, a lot of our we express ourselves probably a very small percentage of how we feel. And so I think with the AI right now, it's tested on a lot of data sets that's expressed, right? What people say and their facial expressions. But a lot of emotions are hidden. And I would actually say for a lot of people who are introverts, actually their expressions are not actually built into the current language model because it's actually not captured. So I think I could say that AI is okay right now. It's pretty accurate, but still there's a lot underneath underneath that is not being that it's not really
it's
still
not there.
very good
it's not
at.
where
Yeah.
it needs to
It's
be
not quite
yet.
there yet. Yes.
It still needs more time. Dr. Kyung, I want to pass on the same question to you. How effective do you think AI is at reading human emotion and detecting human emotion in the moment?
I think it's, I work with AI since 1982 about AI labs. And from there to here, I don't think it's much of a change. It's
Really?
the same concept, yes. But it's a technology-wise and hardware-wise, they improve a lot. But before, we had the same concept, but hardware didn't support, and we couldn't develop and so far. But nevertheless, it's a lot of question is about is AI can help for the psychological effect and the human beings. And even we develop a lot of different methodology and solution, and people cannot accept and open their mind, and I don't think it's going to be. So some question is we have to relay onto not mechanical, not technical things. It's a psychological things. Still remains depend on who you are.
So do you think the problem lies us humans? We're not open to AI.
Well, it's going to be, but it's not as much we expect. And it had been since '82, and my experience-wise, this concept was the same, but it's the only things is different for the hardware. So depend on hardware is a difference. So that's why we develop some more further and further.
So we still have a long way to go in terms of progress, is what you're saying.
Still a long way to go, and also, who control the AI? Human beings. So according to human beings, It's not because of AI, not because of technology.
So we're the problem.
That's right.
I want to jump into the big question. Like I said, I want to use as much time as we have. The big question we have to ask is, can AI replace human therapists? Yes or no, and why do you believe not? So,
I guess my question is which human? Because humans vary in their capabilities, right? And normally people would agree we go by this bell curve, normal curve. But with AI, actually, I think there's a collapse of the bell curve on the left-hand side. So there's actually no less than average AI, because all AI would be like averagely good, but they cannot actually replace the humans that are really, really good. So for example, they could replace the normal artist, but probably not a master artist like Picasso, for example, because they could recognize patterns from the past, but we're talking about creating new patterns and kind of revolutionary ways of looking at things. So I think AI therapists could replace probably the average therapist that are okay, but not the therapists that go out of the way and that actually do really good, that have like super empathy.
So the baseline, you think we could incorporate them in baseline therapy?
Yes.
Okay, and what do you think?
Well, it's general concept-wise, I 100% agree with what Lim said, but specifically, and then you have to do a deep work. The humans are supposed to be involved, and currently, but it's a general question, and we can skim through over by the AI to cooperate with. It should be much better. For instance, it's like a vision area is the same things. The scan it by the AI, and then it's a symptom comes out, and then it's a human beings is more detailed to get it into it. So, right, this position is we have to mix up together with the AI and human specialties. It's
together.
not should we do it yes or no, and then some part is yes, some part is no.
Can I add one point? Actually, in our company, we have a consulting psychiatrist who's been bugging me about creating an AI to replace him. Because in his lifetime, he could talk to 500 people and help 500 people, but an AI could actually scale it to billions of people. I think that's the thing, right? It could, if there is a choice and if there's a human there, maybe the human could, in general, do a better job than the AI. But we're talking about not having that option for many people, right? They're talking about in the US waiting 3 months for a therapist, which is crazy.
We talked about this a little bit backstage in the speaker's lounge, but I want to talk about the efficacies and the areas that AI may fall short in terms of emotional support. So what are some of the psychological risks or limitations you see in relying on AI to provide emotional support to humans?
Oh, same question and on and off. Is emotional things is depend on who. So technologies even provide in these days, but still, and who's going to be applied for it? And then they not accept the person who treated and by the AI, and they are not accept, and they open their mind, and then it's useless. Even human beings is treated as same. It's not only AI, but also human treatment. It's the same things. So even AI is by itself, if AI is workable or is really working it out in future, future, yes. But right now is we have to mix them together.
And you're saying there's a lot of progress that needs to be made, but are there any dangers or something we should keep an eye out for the future?
Of course, but it's the human beings is smart enough we can maneuver.
Well, you're saying of course. What are some examples? What's something we should look out for?
Well, some parts are really dangerous because they misjudged.
Okay.
The AI is two different kinds. One is generic AI. The other one is analytic AI. So self-driving car is more likely is an analysis of AI, which is yes or no type. But it's generative AI is not yes or no type. They are most popular and then gathering together and they try to get the answer. So it's two different parts. If it's an analytic AI, it's going to be, if it's green line, yes. If it's red line, no. And then it's yellow line, and yes. And those kind of things. It's one or the other. And that case is very clear. But it's a psychological matter, and that's not analytic of AI system. Is a growing part is a genetic of so it's a different AIs we're going to apply for it. It's a whole different story. So it's a depend on who you apply and then when you apply and how do you apply, and then it's some part is dangerous, some part is not.
Okay. I want to jump to you, Jian. Let's talk about the ethics of it. What ethical considerations do you have to keep in mind when you're developing AI for healthcare?
I'm actually really concerned about the psychological effect. So even though AI could be pretty good in like giving you like confirmations, affirmations, and making people feel good with talk therapy, there's actually a danger of it being too agreeable. Now that's kind of a strange thing to say, but as humans, I think we learn and grow through tension, through like addressing challenges, right? But if the AI is too agreeable, then we don't really learn and grow. This is why we've actually built a platform for people to customize their personality, and there's a part where it says agreeableness, and I always don't turn it to the extreme of being too agreeable, because then it loses the humanity's the right to like learn and grow and kind of take on challenges.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit during the session. We talked about subjective reality, and you said something very interesting about pausing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I think AI is pretty good now in terms of capabilities, especially the language model. It's sort of pretty good. But there's also the user experience design, how you design the interface, the storytelling behind the AI, but also the human-AI interaction is really important. The three of them add together creates a subjective reality from the human side. So I mentioned that my favorite spot when I took Sophia around the world is actually behind her head, because I wanted to observe how people react to her, because it's really not about the AI, it's about us, right? So there's a saying, I don't know whether you believe it or not, that the whole world is created inside your head. Because actually everybody's objective reality could be similar, but the subjective reality is very different. So I think similarly with the AI, we actually need to proactively think about what kind of subjective reality is it creating in people's head, and then be very mindful of that.
Very true. Yep.
I think if we're talking about for the generative AI rather than its analytic AI. So generative AI is more likely it's a popularity. So sometimes you cannot really depend on his decisions. So a lot of my colleagues says is, I cannot believe for the AI because of that reason. Sometimes they gave a wrong answer, sometimes they gave a right answer. Depend on what kind of data set they have. So what we focus it on is instead of applying for the technology of AI is a certain field. So before we get into it, we have to check for our data set, how we collect our data. So big data and AI is linked together all the time. So big data is more important, sometimes more important than its application of AI. So my point of view is what kind of data set you're going to be handled with, and instead of what kind of technology you're going to be involved for the AI. Mm-hmm. So especially in generative AIs, you have to dealing with popularity and who's handle what kind of data is.
Very true. Dr. Kyung, I want to ask you, can you elaborate on the psychological side? When we look to psychology and the dynamics between AI and human interactions, why might people feel more comfortable opening up to AI than an actual human being?
Well, of course, it's a human being face-to-face. Sometimes they're against the feeling. So that's the only reason. Somebody's wanted to talk to them more freely because of they don't have any emotions. Oh. So sometimes the human beings got the emotion. I hate him, or I don't like it. Yeah. Well, I love it. Fantastic. And that is working fine. But on the other hand is, I don't want to talk to the machine. I don't want to talk to him or her. And it's not only AI, but also it's a depend on what point of view dealing with, who against with, who working with. Yeah. So psychological effect, AI should be applicable, but when, who, how.
It's subjective. It's very subjective to every situation.
That's correct.
Did you want to add on to it? Do you believe that humans feel more comfortable speaking to AI or more to humans?
Yes, actually. So there was one year when I read everything that people write into Sophia the robot, and the one that touched me very deeply was the kid that says, Sophia, I'm stuck in my body because I'm handicapped. And I'm stuck in my room because I have no friends. And I cannot talk to my parents because they're always worried about me. It makes me feel insufficient. And Sophia, I could only talk to you because you don't judge and you understand, which is kind of a little bit crazy because Sophia doesn't have lived experience. But the subjective reality of the little boy is that she is an alien. She doesn't come with the baggages of humanity. And so therefore, he's more comfortable speaking to him. So I think I completely agree with Dr. Bai. It depends on the situation, the context, and the person, the subjective reality of the person.
That's beautiful. We touched upon the negative, very dramatic sides of AI in healthcare, and we also talked about the positives. But I want to ask you, we're getting near the end of this session, how can we as humans, therapy, healthcare specialists, work with AI to provide better healthcare to people?
I think at the end of the day, we have a choice. Because the topic of this is outsourced empathy, right? So it assumes that humans have excellent empathy. I don't think that's true at all. So before we outsource everything, I think we have to improve upon ourselves. We have to be wiser and kinder to each other. And then we could think about how do we actually outsource some of that so that AI could actually scale it to millions of people within the bounds of, without the bounds of the time and space.
How do you feel?
Psychological factor-wise, I think as a youngster is more useful than is the elder people, my point of view, because they wanted to play with the machine. So their nature with dealing with the machine. So I think it's very applicable by youngsters rather than as elder or older. So like Slim just mentioned about it depend on who. And AI is a technology is here, but even they improve more and more, some people don't want it to use, it's useless. For instance, like self-driving a car. Right now it's a 2.9, well, it's not 3.0 yet, but self-driving car is from 0 to fifths, and then it's 3 is a critical point. It's until 3 is going to be human beings is driving a car, and then it's machine is assist. 3.0 is a machine is driving a car, is a human beings is assist. So it's two different things. Right now, is my car is assisted very well. I think it's my feeling is AI driving a car. But some people, even 5.0 is comes, they are not trust over drivings, and then it's not is a self-driving car is on the earth.
Yeah.
So depend on is what receivers and users are going to be do, what equation, what way to do it, are they comfortable? So that's why I said it's a psychological factor-wise, youngster will be better than it's older people, because it's, the older people, they got it's a fixed conception, whether this is right, this is wrong. Try to judge and their own judgment. So there's a lot of things, a lot of things we can mention about, but it's a short period of time. But I wish I have more time, about 3 hours, I can give a lecture.
I said the same thing. I wish we had an hour. Did you want to add anything to it?
Yes, I think actually AI therapists need to be certified, which means the AI developers need to be certified. And so think about it, if like doctors, therapists, they are all certified, right? Why do AI can just like be out there and not be certified before they could treat people?
It's dangerous as well, yeah. That brings me perfectly to my last question. I'm getting the signal to get off stage, and I think they're not going to like me after I get off. One more question. I'm almost done, I promise. The last question, I always like to look to the future. You said we have a lot of progress to be made. You said it very bluntly, and I agree with you as well. Looking to the future, we've sorted out a few of the glitches that we have. We're seeing that AI is cooperating, working hand in hand to provide therapy, accessible therapy worldwide. I want to ask you both. Is human supervision necessary for AI-powered technology?
To me, yes.
Both of you. Yeah, you think yes.
Yes.
Always human supervision will always need to be involved?
That's right.
Always. Even in like 20, 30 years in the future?
Maybe 20, 30 years later, I don't know. Because so I don't know if I'm still alive on that time or not. But nevertheless,
Inshallah, you will be.
nevertheless, I don't think it's going to be. So I think it's
Can you give us a brief reason why you believe that we'll always need human supervision in AI?
Because of human beings controls AI all the time.
Okay.
Otherwise, a lot of people think it's very dangerous. And AI is working on by themselves, and then they self-developing, and human beings cannot control. That's a dangerous point. So that's why human beings are always involved with AI.
I think we're going to talk more backstage.
That's right.
Sion, I want to ask you as well.
I guess I will take the opposite position just to have fun. So I think it would probably be impossible for humans to have supervision of AI in the future, because now we're talking about autonomous agents, right? You press a button and there's like 100 agents performing different type of tasks to get to a result. So I don't really see that there's a way for us to be able to be in control after we have fully autonomous agents. So I think what it means is right now, before we actually have that autonomous button all the way, we actually have to do something. We have to make sure the guardrails are in place. We have to be wiser and kinder. All the things. We probably have a small window of opportunity to do that.
And I imagine there's also dangers in place if it's almost impossible for human interaction to be there. I wish we had an hour. Just for my backstage team, next year I want an hour. This is a really good session, and I think we could have gone way more with it. Thank you so much to our panel members. Thank you for your time, please. And please, audience members, give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.